Pre-programmed splits are largely a myth, but they're a very useful myth. When you work out, you're telling your muscles, hey, the amount of strength you had before is not enough to do whatever it is you were doing. You need to get stronger. Then when you progressively overload, you tell the muscles, now that you're stronger, as it turns out, that's not enough either. You got to get stronger again. In between those, you need rest. So those are the two most important parts of any real workout regimen. You need to do the work, push yourself a little harder, and then rest between so your body can repair itself. Splits, like push, pull, lower, upper lower split, bro split, anything else like that, is there to force you to follow a schedule that will have you give enough of an incentive to the muscles to grow on a regular enough basis to keep growing, with enough of a break to allow them to grow, but it may not be what's optimal for you. I know personally, after a couple of years of experience now, that things like deadlift and squat, I can't do that back to back, and I'm not going to be at my best if I do it with just one day between. If I do deadlift on a Monday, I can hit it again on a Thursday at full strength. Wednesday might be a little tricky. Tuesday, I'm probably going to end up hurting myself. Chest is a little different. If I do chest on a Monday, I take Tuesday off and I hit it on Wednesday, I'll be just fine. If I vary it up and let's say do standard barbell bench press on a Monday, on Tuesday I can probably do dips, but I can't do a barbell bench press on Tuesday. Programming your own workouts allows you to work out, pun intended I guess, the best schedule for your own growth. It allows you to program for the optimum amount of rest between each exercise, but it may mean that your days are not always the same. Monday may not always have the same exercises as the next Monday and the Monday after that. A standard program means you don't really have to think about it, but it may not be the best for you, so there is a balance there. In either case, as long as you're giving yourself enough of an incentive to grow the muscles and enough rest to allow the muscles to grow, you're going to be doing just fine. But to really optimize it, you need to figure out how much rest you need and how often you need to hit the muscles in order to make them grow. Typically, big compound exercises like the squat, the deadlift, the bench press, they're going to require more of a recovery period between them to really optimize how much effort you can put into them. Smaller muscles, the isolation exercises, let's say bicep curl, calf raises, things like that, you probably won't need as much of a rest and you may be able to hit them back to back to back, day after day after day, without much of a problem. You shouldn't do 7 days in a row. You're probably going to end up hurting yourself. If you do end up doing the big compound exercises day after day, your form is going to start to falter, the smaller supporting muscles are probably going to falter, and you're probably going to end up hurting yourself. I find the best average split is to just do whatever you can one day, and let those muscles rest for a day, do something different the next day. If you're going to hit chest on Monday, don't do chest on Tuesday. Do it on Wednesday at least. Or if you know you need 2 days off, do it on Thursday. If you are really heavy into legs, you want to hit them as often as possible, but you know you need 2 days between them, you hit legs Monday, take off Tuesday, take off Wednesday, hit them Thursday. Take off Friday, take off Saturday, hit them Sunday. Now the next week rolls around, Monday is not going to be the day that you're hitting them. You just hit them yesterday on Sunday. So you take off Monday, Tuesday, hit them Wednesday. And your weeks may shift over time, but you'll be hitting them at the right pace for you to optimize your growth. This is not as simple as a pre-programmed split, but it will allow you to do everything that you can do to grow as much as possible. I do like the pre-programmed splits. I used to use them, but lately, especially with a child, I can't follow a common daily schedule. Not every Monday is the same, not every Wednesday is the same. It changes pretty regularly. I do find Sundays I can typically go to the gym. Tuesday mornings I can often work out in the office, and the rest of the week is a bit like the Wild West. So I just have to play it by ear, see what big exercises I can fit in on a Sunday, see what I can fill in on a Tuesday, and everything between that I just have to optimize for what I need to recover from and how often I need to hit the muscles on a weekly basis. Because of this, you may end up hitting muscles at a different amount each week. You may hit, let's say, the chest 3 times one week, 2 times the next week. You may also hurt yourself, which means you'll need a longer amount of recovery time, and that may throw you off of your regular split schedule. If you hurt a muscle and you need 5 days to recover, and then you get back on that schedule, it hasn't been a proper week to turn around. You're getting back on day 6. So now everything shifts, and you need to learn to shift with it. Other pre-programmed workout splits and methods of growth have you adding a particular amount of weight, let's say 5 pounds this week, 10 pounds next week. Do 6 reps this week, do 7 reps with this set, and following a very set schedule of growth. But you may not be able to follow that pace, or you may grow faster than it, and it's not going to give you the optimum amount of growth. I am a big fan of what's called double progression. You pick whatever weight it is you can do for the amount of reps you're going for. Let's say chest press, you're aiming for 6 reps. So whatever weight you pick, you do it until you can do 6 reps at that weight. Then you up the weight. When you up the weight, it is going to drop the number of reps you can do. Let's say you up the weight 10 pounds. Now your number of reps dropped to 4. You stick at that weight and you keep pushing with that weight until finally you get it back up to 6. Then you up the weight again. This doesn't mean that you're going to be following a pre-programmed amount of weight increase or rep increase. It means you're going to be doing what your body is capable of doing at the pace it is capable of doing it. This does mean you have to put a little more effort into figuring out how much weight you can move for a certain amount of reps, but it does also mean that you'll be able to optimize for what your body can do and not what a pre-programmed growth and split schedule is telling you you should be doing, because it may not always be the case, especially if you're older, especially if you've injured yourself, and doubly so if you're not getting the proper amount of sleep because you have a small baby kicking you awake at times. Anyway, whatever it is that you are doing for your workout, the most important thing is you keep doing it. Working out is better than not working out. Moving is better than not moving. So, keep moving, keep lifting weights, keep moving the metal.